Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast from the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports on 14 Mile Road in Rockford, Michigan. Thank you so much for checking them out. ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. If you want to get something fun, I heard some folks on fun things when I was up at Fear Bunker North, ripping around on the trails, on your side-by-side, your 4x4, your ATV, your motorcycle. Maybe you just want to tool around on a Yamaha golf cart. They've got those, Michigan's newest dealer for Yamaha golf carts. Reach out to them by going to their website, ImpactPowerSportsMI.com. They sponsor the studio and a whole lot more. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it is it this weekend? No, it is the 2nd of November. Impact Power Sports, which is not known as Impacted Vertebrae Power Sports, Bob, is having an open house that I will be at. So what this is you go there and test drive some of the fun stuff that they have. They got plenty of property there. And I'll be there on Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So come out, hang out, and see me. More good news on the sponsorship front. I've Green Medicine Shop is a medical cannabis facility that has been a sponsor of mine in the past year, and they're getting set to also relaunch, and they have big news. They made a post about this because one of the things that I've talked about when I was talking about Green Medicine Shop was, even though this is a state where recreational cannabis is 100% legal, in this particular portion of Michigan, Greenville area, it's not. They have like some ridiculous local ordinance. No, we don't want that type of riffraff here. It's like, give me a fucking break. So, you know, they have a shop that's kind of pushing a boulder up a hill. Well, they still, of course, have the highest quality cannabis because medicinal cannabis has to be held to a higher standard with less allergens and mold in it, parts per million. But they're adding that they are now getting ready to announce. And I don't have the exact announcement in front of me, but I know these things. They will be selling recreational cannabis very soon. So they are excited about that, and I know that's kind of stealing their thunder, but they will be back on this show very, very soon, and you can possibly come and see me, visit with me at Green Medicine Shop. I don't know if they're going to change the name. I mean, it's called Green Medicine Shop. Everybody knows what's up there, but it's so much more than medicinal now, or at least is getting to be. It's a fantastic weekend up at Fear Bunker North. But before I get to that, I want to stay on top of the Fat-a-thon. As you know, Kenny and Jeremy are working on losing weight right now. It just so happens when Jeremy started to lose weight, which are we 1 month in? I think we are 1 month in today since Jeremy decided to turn it around. Right at about that same time, after about a week, Kenny realized that he is the exact same weight as Jeremy. Now, Kenny had already lost a ton of weight. So, different spots because, when you've already lost a ton, you have a tendency to plateau. But it doesn't matter. Just they wanted to help, do this competition between them to keep them honest. And it's something to talk about here. And it's frankly inspirational. I love it when people lose a lot of weight. I'm always impressed with that. So these boys are working on it. This is the week 3 of weigh-ins. We go into this week. Each person has 1 win and 1 loss. Whoever loses the most weight for the week gets the W. And this week, Jeremy is getting another W. He is down to 311.4. That is down 2.5 from the previous week. He wrote something to the effect about hitting a plateau. And Jeremy, even in the chat, says, oh, shit, I thought Kenny had me for sure. Kenny reported a gain, unfortunately, of 2.4. He said it could be the Chips Ahoy. So that means that now on the year, Jeremy is 2-1, Kenny is 1-2. I don't know Kenny's starting weight on his adventure here, so I can't really report on that. But I do know that Jeremy 1 month ago today, right, Jeremy? It was 1 month ago today. 1 month is October 9, but it is 4 Mondays, so close enough. On October 9, Jeremy weighed 335.4, and he is now 311.4. So that's 21, 31. That is 24 pounds. Okay, I think in order to recalibrate, because Jeremy was a little bit like, oh, man, I only lost 2.4, and Kenny went the opposite direction. You guys got to have a solid week. I mean, you got to be super vigilant. And it's probably going to be that way from here on out. I wasn't going to point it out, but Jeremy did. He did weigh in earlier in the day, and he weighed in at 311 or 312 even. And then he took a dump, and then he shit out 0.6 pounds of shit. So that moved him to 311.4. I was going to keep that out, but okay, no problem. That's a lot of shit. So this week, gentlemen, recalibrate. Isn't that what Jocko said? Recalibrate, reload, and get after it. It's been a while since we've done Jocko good. Didn't Jocko say that to some artist? Was it Everlast? No, it was Joe Rogan was in there with Everlast. And Everlast was talking about, ups and downs or something like that. And Rogan said, oh, yeah, whenever you're down, listen to this. And he played Jocko Good. And Everlast is kind of like, well, yeah, my daughter, but, she's dead. I don't know if she's dead, by the way. It was something bad to do with his daughter. I don't know if his daughter is dead or got hit by a train or a giraffe mauled her. I'm not sure. Nick writes, your kid is terminally ill? Good. Yeah, as we've listened to the Jocko Good and watched it over the years, Jocko maintains that no matter the situation, something good will come out of it. Yeah, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's any situation. And if there was something good to come out of terminally ill kid or kid got mauled by a giraffe, I don't think you're going to say it out loud or pontificate and go, oh, God, thank God. Thank God the giraffe mauled my 4-year-old. Nick says Jocko's a fool. In order to recalibrate, Jeremy says he's going to go down to 1,500 calories. I've been at 1,700, trying to take a couple of walks, and I bought some fiber supplements. I'm going to be back on track soon enough. Tim Kuiper is here. Hello, Tim Kuiper. Kenny indicates that he was at 360 to start. So definitely different worlds for these two. But still, that's, I can't do the math. I guess that would be 40. So you are down 42.4 pounds after the loss of weight. Or I'm sorry, after the gaining the 2.4. Okay. So yeah, you just pull a Jocko. Recalibrate, re-engage, and, you know, do all that shit, he says. All right, I'm going to play Jocko here. Nick says, no, he's an idiot. I like this. You know, again, it probably doesn't apply to Everlast's kid, which I'm still not sure what the fuck is wrong with the kid. I forget. For that awkward moment, but
one of my direct subordinates, one of my guys that worked for me, he would call me up or pull me aside with some major problem, some issue that was going on, and he'd say, boss, we got this and that and the other thing. And I'd look at him and I'd say, good.
I would hate him if he did that.
And finally one day he was telling me about some issue that he was having, some problem, and he said, I already know what you're going to say. And I said, well, what am I going to say? He said, you're going to say good.
Everything about this makes me want to run through a wall. The music building, the way it's angled, the shadowy appearance to it.
He said, that's what you always say. When something is wrong and going bad, you always just look at me and say good. And I said, well, yeah. When things are going bad, there's going to be some good that's going to come from it. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good.
Daughter terminally ill?
Didn't get promoted?
Daughter terminally ill?
Good. More time to get better. Oh, mission got canceled?
Wife got hit by a train?
Good. We can focus on another one. Didn't get funded. Didn't get the job you wanted. Got injured. Sprained my ankle. Got tapped out? Good. Got beat? Good. You learned. Unexpected problems? Good. We have the opportunity to figure out a solution. That's it. When things are going bad, don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated.
Those words right there. You cannot say any of this to a 20-year-old. You say, yeah, you're better off just saying, when things don't go right, throw yourself on the ground and complain. That's what you're supposed to do.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive.
I like how they have the shot of Terminator Eye lighting up.
It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you.
You got some fight left in you, Kenny? You got some fight left in you, Jeremy? Gained a couple pounds. Good. I don't know what's good about that, but you can come up with something good about that.
So get up.
Get up, Kenny.
Dust off.
Dust off, Kenny.
Reload.
Reload, Jeremy.
Recalibrate.
Got to recalibrate, too.
Re-engage.
Re-engage.
And go out on the attack.
There you go. My man. My man. Ah, that's awesome. Now, we make fun, or I make fun, but Maddie, you lost your purse and you're having a meltdown? Good. Thank you, Nick. Got cheated on? Good. Now, that's coming from someone who has been cheated on, Kenny, which means he's okay, the fact that you're joking about that is actually good. Got cheated on? Good. Got blocked for no reason? Good. Gained weight when trying to lose it? Good. It's funny. I was thinking about you this weekend, Kenny. I actually was. I was at Fear Bunker North, and I thought to myself, because you've made it very, very clear, you've had issues with people that you're dating, and you've described it as you'll go on a nice date, it'll be fun, things are progressing at a very normal pace, you know, and then all of a sudden you're blocked on Facebook. And I think that's pretty much how you've described it. I mean, some of these relationships might be a little bit more involved, maybe further down the road, and then all of a sudden, boom. There's one of two things I'm suggesting. Either one, reach out and say, hey, I'm looking for a little feedback. Can you tell me what my problem is? Can you tell me what you're unhappy with? Be totally honest. Because if you don't know what it is, you might be destined to continue to do the same thing that's causing this to happen. Good point. Can't get feedback when you're blocked. Okay, how about this? I'm branching out the Ari Zane empire. It's called Ari Zane Surveys. What I would do is I would reach out to the people that you had been into budding relationships with and pick the brains of these ladies. Basically, I'd find out who they are. I'd approach them and say, hello, I'm Ari Zane. I'm reaching out on behalf of my client, Kenneth Hinson. If it's okay, would you please tell me the problem with this guy? Because I'm trying to give him some feedback so that he can have some success with these women. You see, he's 47 years old, and he wants someone to snuggle with. And it's fallen apart for him. And, well, we look out for each other in this group of ours. So could you please maybe give me some feedback? Nick in Houston writes, can't stop beating women and got fired from your $500,000 a year job, and now you're a rock climber in California? Good. Mother caught you pounding your pud when you were 17? Good. Molly writes, your dog ran away? Good. Ben Glaze is here. He writes, your parents both died of cancer in 2 years? Good. Ben adds, man held your penis while you peed? Good. Jacked off your friend and liked it? Good. Nick says, Navy SEAL video giving you douche chills. Good. Ben says that the Jocko video is beyond retarded. Corey writes, another school shooting? Good. All right, some things are clearly not good. I think we need to rein it in, though. Generally speaking. David does not like Jocko. He says he's the asshole of the day. All right, well, I got to allow that to be a nomination. I love Jocko. I think that's motivational to me. I'm not the smartest person in the world. All right. Fake Free Beer writes, you do that, you're going to get Kenny slapped with a restraining order. Okay. Well, anyway. Kenny says, I'm pretty sure it's because I'm still disgustingly fat. Oh, well. Well, look, you are slightly more fat today than you were a week ago. But, again, you're going to pull a Jocko. You're going to recalibrate. You're going to reload. Next week, we're gonna turn this around. I can feel it. I know that. So keep that in mind. But the crown for the week goes to Jeremy, who drops 2.5 pounds. In week one of this, Jeremy dropped 14.3 pounds. Week 2, he dropped 7.2. And week 3, he dropped 2.5. That's going to continue. It's going to continue to be smaller and smaller amounts. It doesn't go like that incredible, that amount of weight loss dropping. So stick with it. Remember, this is a long-ass race. Long-ass race. David says, better a little fat than stupid. You can't get less dumb, and you can be less fat. I am convinced these boys are going to turn this around. All right, before I'm done, before my podcasting days are done, you guys are going to be lean and mean. I know that. I know you will. All right, so this weekend up in Grayling, it was the dogs and your old pal EZ. There was one moment when I pulled into the property and it was dark, and I said to myself, put O'Neill on a leash. As Molly writes, quitting the podcast? Well, what I mean by that is when my podcasting days are done. Whenever that is. No time soon. When I'm 70 years old, probably. I'm like, okay, whenever we get out of the car, O'Neill's always fucking super hyper. He has the tendency to go taking off like a bat out of hell, back up the driveway. Hence we came. But it's pitch black. I'm like, should I put him on a leash? He's probably not going to run away this time. I open the door. He takes off. I'm like, God damn it. Now, he always comes back. But it's like a winding. He's gone. And I couldn't see him anyway if it was daylight because it's a turn and it's dark as hell. So I'm like, oh, God. Now, I can't run. I can't do any type of running. I can only walk. Stevie says, what the hell, easy. Stevie has rightfully been dogging me about, you got to take better care of him. He's a runner. You can't be doing this shit with my dog. And I'm like, you're right. So I failed you again. So he's gone. So I start walking up the drive, and I've got the cell phone light in front of me. And you know, that only goes so far. And so I'm walking, and I got Darla and Bruce next to me, and they're walking along and walking up this road. Giant trees on either side, and then way the fuck off in the distance, I can barely see his eyes. The light from the phone is hitting his eyes, and it just looks like a goddamn demon looking at me. And he's looking at the light, and he's kind of like mesmerized by it, like when you're shining for a deer. I'm like, holy fuck, that looks creepy as shit. And then I notice that the eyes start bouncing up and down. And it's because he's running like a fucking madman right at me. And Stevie says, the floofiest demon ever. Yes, the most floppy-eared, goofiest, giant-pawed, short-legged, stub-tailed, wackiest hound shepherd you'd ever see. Oh, my God. And then the eyes are getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And then he goes right by me. And he goes right when he runs by me. I'm like, oh, great. So then he's going the other way. I'm like, son of a bitch. Come on, guys. Let's go get him. Thank God he stayed close to the trailer. We're all good. There is a degree of anxiety every time you're right, Stevie. I know. But it's fine. So you want an update on the mice. Well, first of all, I posted that picture on Facebook of what it looks like now at my place for mouse warfare. This is this reel that I posted. That's the walk the plank deal. Now, you'll notice that on the plank, there's brown up and down. That's little smudges of peanut butter to get the mice to go up. Okay, so they'll be trained to go up there. And then once they get to the end of that thing, they fall into the bucket of antifreeze, which I don't know why, but it breaks my heart. Just they would be frolicking in that antifreeze, and then they just die of poison consumption and drowning in there. Just fucking gross. I can't handle it. Meanwhile, I don't have any problem with the mouse traps. So I've got 2 buckets. I've got 7 traps inside of the trailer, and a bucket on the outside of Charity Scam Mike's, and a bucket on the outside of my place. I did not even attempt to put the bucket out until the dogs were in the car and I'm driving away. So I have no idea if this is effective or not. But I will say this. It's getting cold at night, and the mice are coming inside of my trailer regularly. So when I walked into that place on Friday, there was traps sprung all over the place with dead mice. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I had to get rid of like 5 mice. I posted that picture too. And then every night before I went to bed, I would set more traps. And every morning I'd wake up with dead mice. So I'm like, oh, fuck. They are like, hey, that place is open. Let's get in there. So every time this happens, I'm always 100% honest with Pooh Bear. When she says how many mice, I give her an exact number. And she's like, yeah, burn it down. Just light a match and burn that fucking place down. Aram says, so much for caring about living creatures. I think that goes pretty far, but if it starts to, like, if living creatures are starting to, like, take over where I live, then we're going to have to do something. So I know that, I mean, it kills me that I have to kill these creatures, but they need to die. All right? I can't be sitting around, and letting the mice override my domicile. I mean, I know you're a big fan of keeping all animals alive, Aram, but I don't think there is another option here. I think the only way to rid the vermin is to do it this way. I'm all open to any other ideas, though. If you have any other suggestions, and I would guess that you would do the same thing. Piano Fingerbanger says, how are they getting in? Not yet known. Tim says, don't forget to pick up the antifreeze before you let your dogs out of your vehicle. Oh, I'm way ahead of you, man. Way ahead of you. Chris says that one mouse in the pic you posted was their king. Huge. Nick says his death bucket got 6 this weekend. Mothballs and dryer sheets, says Chris. Okay, but the smell of mothballs is ridiculous. I'd rather have mice in there. Matt says maybe you can play the Kelly Cheese montage to drive them away. While I was there, So, seriously, the weekend was, my weekend was getting the place ready because I've got my dad just going up there this coming weekend with Charity Scam Mike. Other loved ones will be up there. Pooh Bear and I will be up there on Saturday. Yeah, everybody, it's your old pal EZ to talk about one of my amazing partners, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile's done it right, If you're like a sucker who's trapped paying tons of money to big wireless, it's time to end that cycle. You see, with big wireless, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. I've seen this happen so many times, especially with Pooh Bear when she breaks her phone and gets a new one. Oh, yeah, it's only going to cost me this much. And get home and it's a complete disaster. I need a personal loan to pay the bill. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about the gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Okay, Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans. I do this, and you should too. My bill went from astronomical to $15 a month for my phone. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. The game is up for big wireless. We are on to you. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Zane. That's mintmobile.com/Zane. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Zane. $45 upfront payment required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower, over 40 gig on unlimited plan, but you'll be fine. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Ladies and gentlemen, your old pal EZ with a few words about my latest and greatest partner, Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. My goodness. Prize Picks, what I love is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and all you do is pick, more or less, on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Check this out. One. Caleb Williams' passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in the month of September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. Now, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Also, good news, Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, your picks are still alive. How about this for a lineup? Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards. Dak Prescott for more than 263 passing yards. Josh Allen for less than 240 passing yards. And CeeDee Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. Then you watch, you root, you have fun. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Eric Zane and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code Eric Zane, of course, on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. And so I have to get the place ready for them, So one of the things I did was I had to get a bunch of firewood, so I'm out in the woods. And I've talked about this before. As you know, the property used to be my dad's. I bought it off him probably 7-8 years ago. And for years, he's had this. Prior to when I was born, like in the 1960s. And several times throughout the years as I traipsed through the woods, I've encountered old garbage piles. And this is so weird, but my dad would take garbage that was not burnable, typically beer cans, soup cans, or vegetable cans, or soda cans. And instead of just going home and dropping it in the garbage, he thought it would be a better idea to go onto his own property. This is 10 acres of land, heavily wooded, and just throw the bag out in the woods. And it's just so, I can't believe even, people were more dumb then, I think. Why would you pollute your own property? I mean, this is coming from a guy who has dumped oil into the ground. All right. But at least it kind of vanishes. This is a pile of metal cans in the middle of the fucking woods. So over the years, I've found a few of these little spots, if you will. They're still turning up. I remember one time I found an old fucking Kirby vacuum. Matt says, hey, guy, the deer will eat those Hams cans. Absolutely. That's exactly the type of beer I would find. Chris says, easy unearthing 1980s Stroh's cans. So, Piano Finger Banger says, Jesus Christ, dude, oil in the ground is 100 times worse. Absolutely. Without a doubt. But you can't see it. It just goes into the ground. Out of sight, out of mind. I have not poured oil into the ground in probably 30 years. Maybe 40. No, it wouldn't be 40. It'd be at least 35. I'm getting judged by the audience. Tophus says, you did that? Yeah, I did. I did do that. I've got a bunch of bottles of it in the garage right now that I have to dispose of. I have a contact to dispose of those appropriately. There is a person I know who said, bring it here and you can take care of it. That is not a good idea to pour oil that was in your car into the ground. It pollutes the water table, the aquifer below all of us. Eventually, it will wind up in a river or a stream. Chris says the person who's going to take your oil is also known as Megan at Irvine's. I am not revealing my source. So I'm walking through the woods on this logging trail, and it's crazy because I've been up and down it thousands of times since I was a little kid. And right off the trail, in plain view, I see a can. And I go, oh, how have I never seen this over all these years? And sure enough, I go over there, and it was he dumped a pile of cans. And as the years have passed on, they've corroded, and there's dirt in there and leaves in there. And I pull them all out of the ground, and I make a pile of them. And I right away, I'm like, I want to get an idea of when this happened. So I went and I noticed that a couple of the soda cans are companies that I don't know. I've never heard of these beverages. And they're rusty, but I can make out one of the cans. It says New Grape. Nugrape. New Grape soda. The can is still purple. It's held its color quite well. Of course, they made these out of like heavy steel back then. These aren't made from aluminum. And I go, well, I have never heard of this brand. So I start doing some research. And New Grape soda, they stopped making that in 1970 which is the year I was born. So I'm fairly certain that pile of shit that my dad dropped there of metal has been there since the mid to late 1960s. There's some Pabst beer cans that still look pretty good, and an old ass bottle, a clear bottle, and glass bottles. Then, like if you were to get a Pepsi, they would come in these short, fucking stubby bottles. So I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. And it was just, it's like a fucking time capsule. Chris says PBR with pull-off tabs. Correct. When you open them, you have to grab the tab with your finger and pull it off, and then the tab comes off. It's not like now. And then back in the day, my dad would take those tabs, and he made a fucking chain out of them. Like he'd connect them one to the other, and he hung them up on a tree. And I was reminded of this when I saw the pull tab. And I looked at because the goddamn tree that he hung it from is still there. And the pull tabs have been taken over by the bark and have now grown in. The pull tabs are in the tree. Like you can't get them out. Unbelievable. To think that shit's been there for that long. Kenny says your dad planned all this. He decided back then he'd sell that property to one of his kids, and they'd have to clean up all this shit instead of him. I just can't get past the fact that he's like, yeah, I got a great plan to get rid of all this trash. Throw it onto my own property. What the hell? All right. Okay, the mice update, the garbage pile update, the fat-a-thon update, the Michigan football update. I have not heard from Joe Martinez. Prior to the Michigan game, I did hear from Joe Martinez. And he was like, hey, we bow to no one. Michigan gonna bust those nuts and all the other shit. And then they went out and they weren't that great in the game against Washington. They started with this quarterback who's horrible. His name is Alex Orji. And the guy stinks. I don't think he's going to play anymore for Michigan. They brought in this guy who's better than him, and but he's still recovering from injury. Some guy named Tuttle. Hofus says his name is Orji. Yeah, is that not incredible? I think he spells it O-R-J-I, Orji. But Michigan goes on the road and lays an egg at Washington. They were an underdog going into that game, and that's remarkable because they're a top 10 team after winning a national championship. To be not favored on the road is against a team that's not ranked. So the odds makers were like, Michigan's not that good. Kenny says, I don't want to spoil any potential stories, but there was some crazy shit happening in college football. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was. And I'm, of course, getting to it. Kenny right there, that's his way of suggesting that I talk about something and him thinking that I wouldn't be talking about it. But come on now. I'm a damn veteran of this. This is the scene in Nashville, Tennessee. This might be one of the most incredible things you're going to see in quite some time. Vanderbilt has never really had success in football. But the only time they were good was when Jay Cutler was a quarterback. When they take on top 5 programs like they did this past weekend, over the years, they've played, going into Saturday, they've played 60 games against top 5 opponents. They were 0-60 going into the game against number 1 Alabama. And they somehow managed to win the game 40-35 over Bama. I think the score is 40-35. And a stunning upset. Absolutely stunning upset. Linda says, what is it about people in Tennessee throwing goalposts in the rivers? Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm a big fan of it. When Tennessee wins a big game, they rip those fuckers down and they throw them in the river. And the same thing in Nashville. The fans run on the field. This is them. There's two cameras. This is going down Broadway in Nashville. This structure on the upper image here with all the glass, that is known as Bridgestone Arena. They are carrying the goalposts. They're getting a police escort. The cops are like, do it. Look at there's the Tootsies and the Stag. All these great honky tonks where you can see a band or an artist. They eventually did make it to the Cumberland and threw those fuckers in there. How great is that? It took about an hour. Kenny says, I meant to send the story to him, but forgot. Oh, no, I got this story from so many people. Jeremy said that Kenny was trying to be sly and steer the conversation in the direction he wants. Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to steer the conversation into the direction he wants. I think he was kind of like just being nice and trying to say, hey, Barry, I know you're talking about this, but don't forget about something else that may have happened. Look, the biggest story going was that. So you know that I'm going to remember that one. That was an outstanding upset. The Vandy fans are happy. We have 17 minutes to the Q100 staff meeting. Speaking of Q100, I was up there this weekend, as I mentioned, up at Fear Bunker North. In fact, I did the radio show live. That's always cool. I don't know what it is when I walk into that place. It captivates me because the structure is old. It's the same type of wood smell when I walk into there. It smells like old wood. And it's just like, oh my God. And you know how smells trigger memory? Every time I walk in there, it's like I'm 20 walking into the mobile home of rock and roll on Z93 in the middle of a cornfield. And it's the same smell. Gets me every time. I walk into there, do the show live, and Bob says, did you play the Marlins song yet? No, I did not. I don't think I'm going to. In fact, I know I'm not going to. It was fun to talk about, though. Now, this is a double-wide home, a modular home, and it has a kitchen, just like the mobile home of rock and roll, was also a double-wide. And it's got a shower and a real nice bathroom in it. It's made up really nice. Chris says, did you put your acid wash jeans on and walk in like it's 1992 Toon Man? I will say this. At Fear Bunker North, I don't have any running water. Now, I bring water to drink and give the dogs and wash my face at bedtime and brush my teeth. But I can't take a shower. However, Q100, they've got a shower there. So, my God, I pack up my stuff, put the dogs in the truck. Sometimes I leave the dog home, but this time I bring the dogs. And I pull into the radio station Saturday night after a long day of hauling wood out of the woods and finding garbage from my dad. And the deer are there. The turkeys are there. They're really used to people, so it's like a petting zoo. And the dogs are going crazy looking at the goddamn wildlife. They want to get at them. I'm like, oh, stay in the car, stay in the car. I come walking out of there. I go in, and I jump in the shower. And then as I'm finishing up, I'm like, I feel so good. This is so awesome. I realize as I'm shutting the water off, I forgot my fucking towel. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I get out, and there's a roll of paper towel on the counter. I go, all right, that's plan C. But I need a good portion of this water off my body. So then I kind of like shake off like a dog. And I swear to God, the shower curtain is almost like a fabric. It's not plastic, but it's like a fabric that will get wet, but it dries quickly. I actually put my head into it and use the outside of the shower curtain to dry my head as best as I could. So embarrassing. So I'm there standing there, soaking wet, naked, and then I pick up like the sweats that I wore all day and sweat in, and I use them to dry off, and then the shirt, and it was pretty effective. It was kind of gross, and then paper towel to finish up the job. All good. It worked out. But, God, I felt like an asshole. Wander out of there, and off I go. Fucking idiot. All right, I want to thank the folks who've been watching the show on Facebook and X. I will say this before I let you go. I got into a brawl, a fantastic Facebook fight with people over the weekend. And it was over this post right here. And we will discuss this on Who Are These Free Beers. This is remarkable. I was listening to content to get for Who Are These Free Beers, which we're going to have a Big Fraud Thursday this week. Ben and I will review Free Beer and Hot Wing show on Who Are These Free Beers. And then we'll do the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast right after that. But it's gotten to a point that, and I'll just read the post. Yuck, back in the heyday of Free Beer and Hot Wings, we prided ourselves on not being phonies. We made it a point to deliberately go out of our way to beat up other morning shows for trying something like this. Oh my, how things have changed. Recently, Greg and the gang openly admit to bit stealing. To make it worse, they actually play the phone calls that came into this Florida radio show to play some silly game. In my opinion, this is a new level of laziness and lack of creativity. Don't even try to disagree. So I got into several fights with people saying the usual shit about me, but I still stand by what I said. The idea of, like, for example, it's one thing to say, hey, that other show is doing this. Can we make that our own? Yeah. That's one way of doing it. But this radio show, KVJ show, Kevin, Virginia, and Jason, they have their listeners call up and tell a story. All right. And then you have to guess whether the story involves a little kid or a drunk adult. It's a little boring, not the greatest thing in the world. But those three people, Kevin, Virginia, and Jason, have pretty good dialogue between them, and they are pretty funny, especially the chick. I like the chick the most on the show. So it's not bad. I give it a B-, C+. Greg, instead of doing the bit on his own and having the audience call and make their own scenarios, He actually takes the phone, takes the phone calls from their show that they play and plays them on his show. And it's clumsy and weird and not really funny, and because they're not funny to begin with. So there's that. And it's embarrassing is what it is. First thing I thought was if they had gone ahead and said, hey, we're going to do this bit called Little Kid or Drunk Adult, and we've set up a phone line for you to call with a story of something crazy that happened to you, and we have to guess whether it's a little kid or... If they had their own audience members call up, that would be somewhat different. But the way they're doing it, the way they're executing it, is beyond lazy. This show, this KVJ show, takes the goddamn calls and makes them available for other radio stations to use, like in prep service. They all contribute to each other. And it's like this weird radio incestuous thing going on. So, yeah, I know KVJ says it's okay to use our shit, but it's not okay to use their shit because it shows how embarrassingly lazy the goddamn Free Beer and Hot Wings show is. So I was mortified on their behalf about all of this. And wow. Corey says, couldn't the original show take legal action? No, they, like I said, they provided the audio of it. Yeah, that's bad. Just fucking do the work yourself. Take their bit, which like I said, is not that great, and put your own spin on it and make it more enjoyable. Because all they're doing is playing it, and then each person guesses, and then they get a quote-unquote point if it matches. It's really awful. Really awful. So we're going to cover that, and I posted about it on Facebook today, or on over the weekend, and I got a few people that were so pissed off at me. Oh, God. But the majority of people were just grossed out by them doing that in the first place. Jeremy wrote, my favorite comment was someone writing, if you knew the background, you'd know it wasn't stealing. Yeah, and I'm like, well, that's not the point. I don't give a shit if it's the stealing part of it. I don't care about. Okay, that does happen. I mean, take a look at Dude Shadoway. The idea of Dude Shadoway is a bit that I've said many times. John Lastman is the guy. John Lastman does the chucker. I took the concept of the chucker, wayward DJ, old guy fucking up interviews. That's it. And then I did my own interviews. I would set them up. We'd do it. I'd have, Hot Wings would write out stupid questions I could ask in addition to my own. And it was fucking awesome. But to blatantly steal the phone calls of their listeners, and the bit is the exact same thing. Oh, God. Jeremy says, you all admitted every year that the holiday break-in was stolen. Correct. The concept of the holiday break-in it's nothing new. I mean, you just fucking go and give shit away in a generous manner. I mean, that's been done a billion times in radio. But this was the worst thing I've ever heard. If there was any shred of respect for that show, it's gone. And for the rest of the players on it to sit through it and no one to raise their hand and say, yeah, this sucks. If all of you agree with Greg, you're part of the problem. You're a pile of shit, too. Because Greg is the one who said, yeah, let's do it. And you fucking morons said, yeah, that sounds good, boss. You idiots. What a fucking pile of shit crew you all are. Horrible in every aspect of it. The industry is embarrassed for you. Jesus Christ. The only thing that show should do right now is reboot. Wipe everything out, take about a month off, and rewrite the direction of the show. My God. Nick in Houston, who is a radio guy, says, I always wondered why they suddenly started calling their VIPs fancy idiots. That is so dumb. Is there a story behind it? I don't know, other than Greg would always love the word fancy. I'm not sure where it came. He wanted to call it the big fancy game show, this big fancy this. Everything's fancy. It's like, stop using fancy, you fucking moron. God, I hate that son of a bitch. All right. So that'll be on Thursday. We will break down that. And I know Ben and I are going to focus on when Kelly hosted 2 days. Ben covered a day and I covered a day. We're calling that segment of the show, Who Are These No Beers? Kenny says, which word is worse, fancy or fresh? It depends on how it's used. All right. There you go. Thank you to the folks on Facebook, X, and YouTube. If you want the rest of the show, I'll be. You can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Eric Zane Live. Or sign up for Patreon. That's how you get Who Are These Free Beers and the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast. Coming up Thursday, live. Thank you, as always, to the sponsors. Today, I want to start off with TC Paintball. Online at tcpaintballgr.com. Book an event today with TC Paintball. Michigan's premier paintball destination right in West Michigan. Maybe get the kids together, maybe a bachelor party, workplace team building, whatever. You will love it. Book a block of time with TC Paintball. Everything must be planned ahead, so reach out today through their website, tcpaintballgr.com. Open enrollment starts October 15th through Obamacare. Make sure you reach out to Frank Fuss so he can help you, every step of the way. Go to buyinsurancehere.com and Frank will help you. Doesn't matter where you are in the listening audience, reach out to Frank today and he will help you at buyinsurancehere.com. The place in West Michigan to get your car, hybrid, your regular gas car, your hybrid, or your EV repaired is Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid and EV. ervines.com is their website, ervines.com. You can call 616-532-6600, 616-532-6600. Congratulations to runner girl Amy over the weekend. Word is, through the grapevine, she kicked ass on a 5K this past weekend. I think she was about 26 and a half minutes on that thing. Sub 8:30 pace. Well done, madam. And that's despite being old. So the age group is 45 to 49. She beat all the 45-year-olds, 46-year-olds, 47-year-olds, and 48-year-olds to finish first in her age group. That is not easy work. If you haven't figured it out, she's 49, which when I talked to Chris D, I was like, she's 49? What an asshole. She doesn't look like she's 49. Fuck that shit. God damn it. I had no idea you were pretty much fossilized because you don't look it. You look very healthy and strong. When you get to 49, you usually look like fuck. Sorry to anybody who's 49 and up. I'm kidding. God damn it. Lighten up. All right. I'm going to go to the staff meeting. I'll see you. Have a good one. Bye-bye. I'll be back in about half an hour. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.